evening, everybody. My name is Loudon Mitchell, and I am your host and moderator for tonight's program. And this is State of Loudon County. Just a few things before we get started. Oh, a little bit up. Let's see. I'm too short.
Just move it down to you. There you go.
How's that? Better. Thank you. Thank you. Loudon Mitchell, State of Loudon County. Just a few things before we get started. If you could mute your cell phone, please. We have a number of speakers. The questions will be held until the end. The podium over there will be where you come to ask your questions. There is a button on there that you're going to have to hit. You want it to light up green like this one. But that's about it. So the agenda for tonight. Linda Garza, our TVRA president, Tellico Village Residents Association president, is going to talk to us a little bit about our new name and about what Tellico Village Residents Association is all about. That will be followed by Kevin Goins and Ryan Moore, and they're from the Loudon Utility Board. The electric services is what we're going to be discussing. Mike Campbell is going to talk to us about the tax assessment, the reassessment that I believe is coming up this year. And we have Billy Pickle to give us updates on our roads. That'll be followed by Jimmy Davis, how we're doing as far as health and welfare. He's the sheriff of Loudon County. Henry Cullen is here, representing District 7. And we'll wrap up with Buddy Bradshaw for the Loudon County updates as the mayor. So, without further ado, Linda Garza.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Loudon, for hosting this, as well as thank you all for coming out this afternoon and for our guest speakers. I wanted to take a couple of minutes. I know a few of you probably got a card like this on your seat, and you probably have heard some things on next door and all over the place in regards to the recent change from the HOA. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to kind of talk about that change and to give you all some information in regards to it. So as you see here at the top of the slide, we are now referred to as TVRA, which is the Tellico Village Residents Association. The thing that I think is most important that I want to make sure is communicated today and every day moving forward is the name change is just that. We have had the benefit for over 36 years here in Tellico Village of the HOA. The Homeowners Association of Tellico Village was established 36 years ago. And what that brought to you 36 years ago is a rich history that I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to review with you on. 36 years ago, the HOA provided our community many great benefits, from the early years of advocating for our residents to get street access to every property here in Tellico Village. Believe it or not, when the village opened up, many lots, many homeowners had purchased lots that didn't even have street access to at that time. Residents are now elected and can be elected to the POA board, which was replacing the CCI employees who were the POA board originally when CCI was governing the Tellico Village. The creation of your Finance Advisory Committee, your Architectural Control Committee, and so many of the other committees here in the village all came about because of the HOA. Recently, the establishment of the Highway Safety Committee, the reestablishment of the Neighborhood Watch program, those are two programs that were actually rich in development and heritage with the Homeowners Association of Tellico Village and are now a part of the POA Advisory Committee, an extension of the advisory committees. So just to build on that, the Tellico Village Residents Association does not ever want to leave that rich history. As a matter of fact, our mission is that of the HOAs and continuing that mission. So the mission of Tellico Village Residents Association is very, very similar to that of the HOA in delivering value to Tellico Village residents, which used to state only homeowners, through informative and engaging programs while promoting social fellowship, civic responsibility, and providing a voice in the village. How do we do that? And again, going back to the advocacy efforts that I mentioned at the beginning and the history with the HOA, we do identify and prioritize from you and the voice of Tellico Village residents issues and concerns that impact the village. We also work with the appropriate parties to take those issues and make sure that your voice is heard to the appropriate parties and work towards a resolution that is beneficial to all. We keep our members informed, and we'd like to keep our members engaged. All of our board members, as well as our support team members of approximately 200 people who support Tellico Village Residents Association, are engaged in your community through different avenues. Some of them are representatives on the on each of the individual POA advisory committees. Others are liaisons that a lot of the gentlemen here this afternoon have the pleasure of seeing at their meetings, whether it's an LUB workshop or a board meeting or a county commissioner meeting. We have liaisons to every one of those meetings as part of our support team. We also have active members and are an active member to the Committee of 100, and as I mentioned, we have liaisons to each one of our utility boards. Another one of the primary efforts of the HOA and TVRA will continue is to keep our folks, our members informed, and we do that through guest speakers, like our guest speakers today, but we also have guest speakers that come and speak at every single one of our socials. Our monthly socials are held on the second Tuesday of every month at 4:30. We begin the social with the meeting starting at 5 o'clock and usually have at least 2 guest speakers. Our Voice in the Village newsletter has informative information in regards to what's going on in the village, as well as information in regards to our individual efforts. And I'll talk a little bit more in a minute in regards to open village meetings that we host annually. We engage in civic responsibilities. Most of you are very familiar. You probably see them out every other Saturday morning, or at least once a month. Our little litter angel teams that are out cleaning 444, keeping our highway clean and our community roads and neighborhood roads clean. We also promote and work with the other nonprofit organizations here in the community, such as Water and the POA, to engage our members in activities such as the Lakeshore Cleanup and the Green Space initiatives, as well as later this year we will support the POA with a community fest that'll be held in October. Our fellowship initiatives are, again, aligned with our monthly socials, but also we support and create about 200 or more events annually. A lot of those events are listed here on the back of the card. If you didn't pick up one of those cards, we've got a lot of really fun things coming up, but those are our community and fellowship initiatives that we work on diligently every year. Our annual open village meetings include our State of the Village, which is usually held during the first quarter of each year, the State of Monroe County, as well as the State of Loudon County, and then the last one that TVRA will host will be the POA Candidate Forum later on. Actually, it's on October the 9th, which is also on your card. Again, the purpose of this is to bring and promote community awareness, to bring knowledge to our residents, make them make them aware of what's going on, but also to engage in two-way conversation between you and the leaders in our community. The benefits are obvious, and those are engaging our residents as well as keeping our community well-informed and providing that voice in the community, as well as to build a strong community. So with that, I encourage you, your participation as a member in Tellico Village Residents Association brings and allows us to bring together these meetings like this, as well as other opportunities here in the village. It supports our Little Angels. It supports a lot of other avenues that we bring to you as a community. So if you haven't already joined Tellico Village Residents Association, you would first create your profile on Tellico Life. And as I said, we're in the midst of changing our name. We hope to relaunch a new website. We're looking at probably mid-September, where HOA will start to go away as far as their logo. But again, the rich history that the HOA created is something that will never go away. It is what we will continue to build on and hopefully just make better. So again, for $20 per household, you can join the HOA today. The HOA, or excuse me, Tellico Village Residents Association is the largest nonprofit organization in the village. We currently represent 1,799 house homes with over 3,469 members. I hope you'll consider being one of them. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Loudon, and she'll get us started.
Thank you. We're now going to hear from Kevin and Ryan, and they cannot stay for the Q&A afterwards, so we're going to take a little bit of time. We normally have all the questions at the end, but we're going to take a little time while they're still here after they present if you have a couple of questions for them. Thank you.
We appreciate you all having us. I'm as of last December, the new General Manager for Loudon Utilities and City Manager for the City of Loudon. This is Ryan Moore. He's the Finance Director on the utility side. I brought the brains for the financial questions. Is that better? It's like right at me. Is that okay? Is that better? Okay. So I'm going to talk through what our rate structure is. A lot of people don't understand how that works in our partnership with TVA. And then Ryan will give a little bit more information on our financial operation. Let me first say, before we get into the financial stuff, one of our goals is to be more transparent in our communication and the things we're doing. One of the ways that we're doing that is we kind of have been piloting a new system that when you report trouble calls, we will have a public outage map that we share it on social media now some as we've been working through getting it tuned up and getting it ready to go. It's about ready to completely launch, and when that happens, we'll have an outage map on our website and on our Facebook page. It's tied to our automated meter reading system, and so anytime meters report out, they'll show up on the system. So you'll be able to tell what a power outage, what the magnitude of it is across our service area. So that'll give you an idea of how widespread the power outages are. There'll be some phone number changes coming with that. We had to keep that phone number for a little while because we're having to run the systems in parallel. So there'll be some things come along with that. An important thing to note is that when you have a power outage, your meter reports in. It's still not always a bad idea to go ahead and text into the system, and you can text your questions into the system and you'll get replies about the status of the outages and the things that are going on. That's something that's new over the last few months, and it's a pretty handy way to keep up with what's going on or give us information. We are a small staff utility, and so we're not really staffed with a lot of people to answer phones when we have thousands of people out of power. So this system allows us for you to text in your problems, and usually you get a pretty quick response back. So just wanted to kind of highlight that before I got into the rates. When we talk about our rate structure, the way our rates are set up, there are four main components. What most people don't know is a utility in the Tennessee Valley that is a local power company. We are in partnership with Tennessee Valley Authority. TVA is the generation and transmission authority for the local power companies in the valley. There's 153 local power companies across 7 states, and all of Tennessee and parts of the surrounding 6 states. Each one of us that deal with TVA, ours, Ryan could probably, I didn't ask him to look it up, so we may not know right off, but typically speaking, about 83 cents of every dollar that comes into Loudon Utilities Electric Department goes straight to TVA. So people think that these rates are totally imposed by your local utility. We are a very small portion of the rates that happen. And when you see rate changes, as I'm going to explain to you here in a moment, most of the time those rate changes are driven by a TVA component, not by your local utility. And that's the same with if it's Teleco or if it's Fort Loudon Electric, Loudon Utilities, Lenore City Utilities. We are all customers, partners with customers of TVA. So if you see the 4 components here, there are 3 components of the bill that are what we call kWh driven, kilowatt hours driven. The number of times that your meter rotates. Every rotation of that meter is a kilowatt hour. So there are components of that are per meter spend. Those are your TVA wholesale rate, your TVA fuel cost adjustment, which has to do with how much gas they have to burn to meet the demand, or different components of the generation side of the business. Our retail component rate, and then our customer charge, which is fixed. So our customer charge is fixed. If you use 1 kilowatt hour or 5,000 kilowatt hours, your customer charge stays the same. And so to kind of talk through these, they also change. So your TVA rate that is charged to us, there are 3 different seasons that they charge us for. You have you have 2 sets of transition months. You have your winter months and your summer months. Your transition months are your lower component rate. They're not as pushed on the generation system. So the rates during those cooler times, think of your spring and fall months, are your transition rates. That is when your power is the cheapest. Then when it transitioned to winter rates and to summer rates, then that base rate component goes up. Right now it's 0.07311. That is I believe that would be our summer rate from TVA. This is a straight pass-through from TVA to us to you. That is what it costs us to buy power from TVA. That's the TVA wholesale rate to us. Then you have the fuel cost adjustment that they calculate monthly and pass along to us depending on how much gas they had to burn. I'm not sure at this point, but some of their contract purchases, I think, are also into this. TVA cannot currently at all times generate enough power to power the valley. So they have contracts with the other generation conglomerates around us, Southern Company, MISO, Duke Energy, where they have a fixed amount of energy that they've pre-contracted for that they can buy whenever we're bumping up against the peak as they're trying to build more generation. So that fuel cost adjustment changes monthly. So a lot of times when you see our bill change, the component that's changing most often is either the transition to summer or winter and your TVA fuel cost adjustment. Those changes are directly passed through from TVA to us. We're not imposing a rate change on you. That's our wholesale rate, what we buy the energy for that we're selling to you. Then we have our retail rate. The math on it, and this may not be exactly perfect. I did some quick math on what the rate showed and what our rates were as I was putting this together the other day. But you'll notice our kilowatt hour component of that rate is very small. We build most of our revenues that we need to operate, mostly for our fixed costs, we build that into our customer charge. And we do that because we don't want to be weather driven. A lot of places, the old way of doing things was your customer charge was $4 or $5, but your kilowatt hour charge, we would put a 3, 4, 5, 6 cent per kilowatt hour, and we were recouping all of our fixed cost and the things we needed to do business in those meter spins. Well, we built too much of that into that area of the rate, and so as homes got more efficient, as things came along, we weren't able to pay our bills because we had built too much into that. So we said the right thing to do is let's be more transparent in what our fixed costs are. Let's recoup those through our customer charge, and we can sell energy much more close to the wholesale rate. And so that's what our attempt is today. So when you've heard us talk about rate changes over the past months, and you will hear about, yearly, when we talk about trying to, we're going to have, at times, probably over the next few years, we're going to have some 2% rate increases. We are putting more of that in the customer charge and less of that in the fixed component charge, and that works out better for everybody. And we explained that to our board a couple of meetings ago because number of meter spins, homes in this area, the meter spins a whole lot more times. It's large homes on the water, on the river, hot. So we're doing that on purpose. We want to cover our costs in our fixed charge, and that's this last component here. So our residential monthly customer charge is $27.73. That's the very base of what we do, and then everything else you see is that small component of our kilowatt hour charge, and then the TVA charges. So that's kind of how our rate structure is set up. I'm going to let Ron share some more information with y'all, and then we'll take a couple of questions before we have to go. I'm sorry we have to leave. Family things I can't avoid, so we wanted to get here and be early so we could get out though.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I think I would just add a few things. Is that the going to the customer charge is better for everyone, primarily because just from a business philosophy perspective, when you consider that our capital plan that the board approved is around $56 million on the electric side, primarily due to aging infrastructure and needing new substations and substation rehabs and things like that. We're going to have to debt fund some of those projects, and it's just better to have fixed rates pay for fixed costs. And so just from a business perspective, this is the appropriate manner. Further, as Manager Goins mentioned, during the summer months where, or really the transition months and fall and spring, we don't want, we'd rather spread out the rates over the year, and this is what customer charge does. It makes it to where your rates are much more predictable when considering what your bill is going to be each month. All of this, we want our rates to be fair and equitable. In other words, we don't want our residential customers subsidizing our industry, and we don't want industry subsidizing our residential customers. And so when we do our rate studies, as we do every year in the electric department, we're keeping that in mind, is that we want to factor in our capital plan on what we're actually going to accomplish. We want to factor in any projected O&M inflation, and we want to factor in the debt payments that we think that we're going to have, and we want to make sure that all of our rates, I'm a ratepayer like you are, we want to make sure all of our rates are fair to us and they're equitable, meaning no one's being taken advantage of or anything like that. So a lot of this is driven by a really large capital plan that we must do to protect our system and to make sure that you all have power when you turn your lights on, and so that we can serve our customers well. And so I can answer any more questions about financial stuff, but fair and equitable, keep that in mind, and fixed costs paying for fixed rates paying for fixed costs is just business best practice in our industry.
So if you have a question, if you'll come up here to the podium so everybody can hear your question, we'll turn this on.
I love it, fair and equitable. several hundred of us in the village are charged a commercial rate, which is about, the fixed charge is about $30, plus the kilowatt hour charge is more, and it's taxable. Now, when I took this up with Loudon Utilities, the folks that are exposed to the population, they told me that that's charge is dictated by TVA and they have no control over it. Now, what's happening is many of us have sewage holding tanks that are powered by a separate meter, and they typically in a month will have 2 or 3 kilowatt hours of energy usage. So we end up paying $31, $32 individually, a month for 2 or 3 kilowatt hours. It seems not at all fair or equitable. So I don't know if you have any purview over that. Or...
So what happens there? So I did line work. I was a lineman for about 17 years before I came here, and we saw a big run of this. TVA does require us that any second meter is a commercial meter, and so I spent 3 or 4 years in that time when that was passed and came out. I spent a lot of time going around to barns and garages that people had fed from the inside of the house, fed power out to it, and eliminated that second meter. That's where, that's a way to get rid of that, but that is a TVA pass down. A second meter is a commercial meter per TVA, and TVA, we request rate adjustments and changes, but they are our regulator, and they are the ones that require that. There's nothing we can do about it other than.
No, I understand. I appreciate your explanation. And if I could get a contact to TVA, I just want to build the case.
Yeah.
And then take it to our representative in U.S. Congress, and I think they would be the ones to.
I can send to Loudon an email with who the contact for this area would be, their customer service on the TVA side here. I can certainly pass that along. I don't have it handy, but we can pass that along.
Great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Is there any other questions? Ryan or Kevin, can you verify the rates that you are referring to here? Are these current rates?
These should be the coming rates, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
these rates will be effective November 1st, 2025. So what your current rate is $27.73 minus $2.50. So $25.23.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understood. What they're reviewing is a upcoming rate change.
That's correct.
So,
and
yeah.
Kevin alluded to something there just a second ago that I think is important to remember is as TVA is our regulator, we do request rate changes from TVA, and TVA has to approve those rate changes. And so if TVA feels that any local power provider or power company is taking advantage of the customers and that their rates are too high, then TVA won't approve the rate change. And so that's another check to make sure that the rates are fair and equitable with in congruence with our finances.
One more question for you, since we have you here. So LUB is also our water provider, correct? I know we didn't originally ask you to talk about water at all, and you might want to defer it, which is fine. But at the last board meeting, they already announced that there is going to be a change in the water rate moving forward. Is that something that you're able to talk about now, or you'd like to come back and be a guest speaker at one of our monthly socials to talk about?
I think we're happy to talk about water rates. I do want to caution that technically you all are not our water customers. The TVPOA is our water customer. And so perhaps maybe on a monthly we can talk about rate studies and things like that. Happy to come and present that. But the reason why we focus on electric, the only bill you all should be getting from Loudon Utilities is for electricity, not for water. So that's why we didn't do that.
That's a good point. Very good. Come on up.
I believe you said the best way to report a power outage is to text. Do you have a phone number for us?
Let me send that along too. The problem is, you can call the normal number that you've always called and you'll report the same way. We are in the process of swapping that over the coming days. We have another number that is on that public outage map that we post, and then we've sent it out. It's an 877 number, and you can text that number. We will be changing to our old number whenever we can get that freed up when we're not running the systems in parallel. So I don't know it right off, but I will send it. Yeah, I'll send it to Loudon and she can get that out to you all. It's a very good system, and it really helps us track what's going on. You're able to even, now don't get yourself in a dangerous position, but what does everybody do when something happens these days? Whether it's a car wreck or a fist fight or a tree down, they jerk this thing right out here and take a picture, right, or a video. Our app, the phone number we're using that, if you take that picture and send it in to us, our staff will see that picture and we can have an idea of what's going on with that power outage. That also helps us if we have to make a FEMA case. We have pictures of the things that happened in our database. So you can call the system. It will take you straight to leave a message, and then that will be reviewed and information will come out. If you're on a cell phone, you'll get a text back from it right then. Otherwise, you can text in questions, statements. If you're very angry with us, go ahead and tell us that too. And if you have pictures, you can send those, and that will help. But I will get that phone number out, and then we will send out some correspondence whenever we get the total changeover made and we're back to our old number as well.
Hi, I got a question you probably heard before, and it has to do with that $20 a month charge, which fortunately for me, we reached the 60 months, so we're not paying that anymore. But is that charge to every new home in Loudon County for 60 months for any new construction?
You'll have to answer that.
No.
Oh,
Well, I could have said that.
so is that charged to every new home construction in Tellico Village?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
It goes back to an agreement back to when the village was brought onto the system. Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to, and I think you said in the beginning that 83 cents of every dollar Loudon Utilities receives goes directly to TVA? Is that
That's pretty close.
that's pretty close?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you for clarifying that.
Just an attaboy for you guys. I really appreciate your monthly electric bills, not like I like paying them, but they're very transparent in that they show my kilowatt hours, my price, how much I consumed a year ago in the same month. So every time I see it, I'm like, hey, the utility is not ripping me off. I really like that. It gives me a good feeling. And I'd love to see Tellico Village do that when they do their water bills for us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate the info. One of my questions is the fixed rate. That's whether you have a 500-foot square home or a 5,000 square foot home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's nothing to do with commercial accounts, businesses, corporations.
They have their own rates. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There is for each customer level, and Ryan can tell you more what those are. They each have a fixed customer charge depending on whether it's GSA 1, GSA 2, in the industrial. It escapes me now, but.
No,
the
and
codes
I
for
like the
those.
fixed charge. I
Yeah.
understand how you're doing. That's a good idea. One thing I saw in one of your earlier slides, you have natural gas, LUB. Too bad we don't have it in the village, huh? We're sure, I miss natural gas. Thank you, guys.
It would have been a good thing to put in the beginning. Yeah.
Exactly. Unfortunately, it's not there yet. Well, and Ryan, you guys might want to just mention that a lot of this information is available on your website.
Yes, it is available. Loudonutilities.org is where, if you go to customer service tab and go to the rates, they're up there.
if you have any other questions, feel free to email me, and, we would come back out. We don't mind at all. We appreciate you all as our customers. Thank you very much.
Move these forward. Who's up next? And if anybody does have any additional questions, you'll see on the slide on the first page, and I think it's on the last page too, programs, well, we still have those emails, yes. Okay, so it's programs@hoatelecovillage.com, but you'll see it at the end of the slide. So if anything else comes up, please send it to me and I'll make sure it gets to them.
Hello, I'm Mike Campbell, property assessor for Loudon County. I want to thank Loudon and the Teleco Village Residents Association for this opportunity to be out here today, and thank you for attending. So my job as property assessor, I narrowed it down, keep it simple, is I list, discover, and appraise. And so a lot of people that come into Tennessee, you come from a different area, and the assessor actually collects. I ran into a gentleman in West Virginia, and actually you mail your check to the sheriff. No part of that. So a lot of things that I was like, what can I talk to everybody about today? What's going on in the world? So in Loudon County. So Loudon County is the second fastest growing county in the state of Tennessee out of 95 counties, and that's per capita. So this last year, Loudon County exceeded $10 billion in total value. That's an increase of over $415 million. How did we get that way? New construction, new lot development, things of that nature. Of that $10.4 billion number, Teleco Village contributes on the books just shy of $2.6 billion. Of that 2.6, you can imagine heavy proportion is all residents. I think you're about 97% resident value, 3% commercial. So some wonderful useless trivia to keep in mind. So what's going on in my world and what's the buzz around town? So the buzz around town is we are in the midst of a countywide reappraisal. So what does that mean? 37,500 parcels will be revalued in 2026. So that's everything from a vacant lot to an industrial property. So we have everything on the baseline house to our upper end house. Everything will be revalued. So what is the single most misunderstood or unknown factor in the reappraisal is the certified tax rate. And so what that is in the Tennessee law is basically truth in taxation. So truth in taxation, certified tax rate. So what does that mean for you guys? More than likely, the stats that I'm seeing, everything in Loudon County is going to go up. And why is that? That has been 4 years since we've had a reappraisal in 2021 and the stats that we're seeing right now. So we set a benchmark on values and they stay flat for the reappraisal cycle. We catch back up to the current market value, and we do that in totality for all of our parcels. So certified tax rate, and I've got to read this one because I want to get it right. The Tennessee certified tax rate process is designed to ensure truth in taxation following a countywide reappraisal. The process ensures that the amount of total taxes collected for a jurisdiction remains the same after reappraisal, even if the combined value of all property in the county rose or fell following the reappraisal. I tried to emphasize fail, and I want you to keep that in mind when we get down in the presentation, because I'm going to show you something. So in our world, I would absolutely love this example in a reappraisal, because we're illustrating everything went up 20%. That would make, I could do reappraisal, in about 30 days. That's not how the real estate market works. We have many factors, including depreciation, various components, or housing and improvements appreciate differently, what people are paying for them. So we're seeing right now, we're looking at land value, and our land value is going to go up. And so in this example, it's very generic, it's very simple, but as in the certified tax rate, we have that policy that there's not going to be a windfall for the taxing jurisdiction. So certain jurisdictions outside the state of Tennessee does not have the certified tax rate policy. So when you see a big increase, what's the automatic reaction? My taxes are going to go up the same amount. What's different in Tennessee? No one around the state of Tennessee has this policy. So my reevaluation scale, appraisals go up, the certified tax rate goes down. It is, I don't know, reverse. So when appraisal values are going up, we will calculate the certified tax rate that comes down, and that keeps the taxing jurisdiction tax neutral. So how does this all come to play? So Mike Campbell, the property assessor down here with my 7-member staff that's going to value 37,500 parcels in a short period of time, and I say that jokingly because it takes us about 4 years to make a loop around the county. And so that is the reappraisal cycle. So in this situation, we've evaluated some of your properties and in 2021, and then we've revisited. You may see a little white Ford Focus or a Escape with some big ugly logos because of our Ring door cameras, are people picking up wondering who's snooping around the house. So now this car it's pretty tacky, but you'll see Loudon County Assessor property on it. So we look at it, we send you a notice, the homeowner. And so that notice is by law the assessment change notice. Then during that process, I will report to, in this one I'm using county commission because you only pay county taxes. In my world, I also have 2 more entities that I provide information to, and that's Loudon City and Lenore City. But you guys are county only. Appraisals go up, certified tax rate goes down. So here's a little historical chart. 1982, the tax rate was $6.88. Major things were happening. The next valuation, 1983, things really were revalued, and the tax rate dropped to $2.35. 1992, we were sitting at $2.80. Those are our tax rates. And 93 was a reappraisal, and we dropped it to $2.51. As you'll see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the certified tax rate was reduced. What happened in the 2 yellow? The certified tax rate was exceeded in 2008, and from what I understand that was a fund balance. There was expenditures in the fund balance, and so they needed to keep their A+ rating. They elected to increase the tax rate. Before my time, we moved to 2013. What happened in 2013? That was the first reappraisal after the 2009 reappraisal. So the ones that were in the real estate market, the downturn of the economy put a spin nationwide, but we felt that here in Loudon County, and so we actually took the values down. So when the value goes down, the rate has to go up, and that keeps us tax neutral for the taxing jurisdiction. So it's very unknown or misinterpreted. The certified tax rate is our friend in Tennessee. And that just prevents windfalls that happen. And I have an association, so I get to talk to people across the country. And I get stories told to me that people have relocated here and they don't understand because they didn't come from a state that had certified tax rate. So, thank goodness for the certified tax rate. So I had some questions. So why do we do a reappraisal? When do we do it? Why do we do it? State law. Pretty simple. 95 counties have to pick a cycle to work on. Historically, we've been on a 4-year cycle. We went to the 5-year cycle in 21, and that is approved, reviewed by the county commission, but it's approved through the State Board of Equalization. So that's one of the, I guess, monitors, and they set our laws up that we have to meet certain deadlines. So that law requires that we do the reappraisal. It requires that we mail out the assessment change notice. And so March of 2026, there's going to be a large mailing that comes out of Nashville on my behalf. And I personally don't like the assessment change notice because only the 7 people and myself in my office probably really get it. It talks about value and assessment. It talks about the new value and the new assessment. What does most everybody want to know? What's coming out of my wallet? And the assessment change notice doesn't do that. So my statutory duty is to value. Then we will start projecting that certified tax rate, and that's a 3-part, so I'll work with county commission, the city councils, and the state to get that certified tax rate that remains tax neutral. Short and sweet. I think that's kind of my emphasis that I wanted to share with you guys today. It's one of the things that I talk over and over with individuals, and they just don't know about it. And so I think it's one of the most important parts to let everybody know about the certified tax rate, because it's easily overseen. We talk about values, we talk about rates, we talk about increases, and so it's a provision that was established many moons ago, and I think it's a benefit for the state of Tennessee. It's a benefit for Loudon County, a benefit for our taxpayers.
Make sure to jot your questions down, ask them at the end. And then he also left his contact information, too. Yep. Next up, Billy. Pardon me? Yep. Thanks.
Thank you all. I learned a lot during that last presentation, so thanks, Mike. Whenever you work for the county, sometimes you don't ask questions that you should. So that was very enlightening. I'll move on to my second slide. They done a nice slide for me to start with. I'm Billy Pickle. I'm the Loudon County Road Superintendent. Some of you all that may have moved here recently, it's not went through an election cycle. Loudon County, along with several other counties in the state of Tennessee, elect the road superintendent. You get into your larger counties, more metropolitan areas, they tend to appoint their superintendent, but Loudon County since 1976 has chosen to elect the superintendent every 4 years. I'll be on the ballot this next May in the Republican primary, along with the sheriff, the mayor, and all of our county commission. Mike does his reappraisal when he doesn't have to run. So that's a pretty good deal. But I've worked for the Loudon County since 2000. Actually started after I got the slides made for Ms. Mitchell, got to thinking about it. I actually started working for the county part-time in 1999, but I came to work at Loudon County Highway Department in the year 2000. Started out answering the phones. Worked in the office for a few years. An opportunity come open to go out on the road to work. Wanted to do that. Wanted to gain more experience. Worked on the road on a crew for a while, working my way to a foreman. Ended in 2006, went to work for TDOT. Worked for them just short of a year before being called back to Loudon County local government to work in the Planning and Codes Enforcement Office. Spent almost 4 years there before my return to the Highway Department in 2012 under Mr. Simpson's administration, where I served as his assistant. I was assistant superintendent until the election in 2022 when I won that election. I'm currently the vice president of the Tennessee County Highway Officials Association's Region 1. That's an election done by my peers. I was first elected as, I guess, third vice president my freshman year. So it really meant a lot to me to have those colleagues trust me so much to have me be their president in January of next year. Just recently elected to the East Tennessee Development District's South Regional Planning Organization. I'm happy to get started as chairman of that committee, addressing some of our transportation needs out in the rural areas. And I also have the pleasure of serving as Mayor Bradshaw's proxy with the executive committee of the Knoxville Metropolitan Planning Organization in the transportation region. So, kind of some highlights. I take care of the rural roads in the county. We have 450 miles of roads, give more than take. The exact number don't have with me right this minute, but we do all of that maintenance, improvements with our staff of 20 guys. We work Monday through Thursday, 10-hour shifts, take off on Fridays, and obviously we've got people on call, all the, 24/7. So on pretty days like we've had today, we can go get a tree that's decided to just fall across the road for no reason, no apparent reason. Seems like we had a short side note. We had the small tornado down in the lower part of the county here a month ago, whenever it was. We were off. It was on a Friday, and we had one tree fall. A tornado come through, and we get one tree. A pretty day, we'll get three trees in a day. 26 years, I've never understood how that works. But I am glad to say, starting at this first bullet point, I've had the pleasure of working with our county commission and our county mayor, the Tennessee General Assembly. We have had one of the largest, it probably is, the largest investment without any loans or raising the property tax for road projects, but the investment that they have made has been tremendous. We've through the General Assembly, we've had opportunities for some new revenues. If y'all drive a hybrid or electric vehicle, you may have noticed that the registration fees on those have went up, and the General Assembly chose that because the Highway Department's primarily funded through the fuel tax. That's a crazy math equation that the state puts out to how we get that funding, but it's been good money for a long time. But with more fuel efficient vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and electric vehicles, those revenues have dropped, going by that old standard of revenue. So we have been collecting that for about a year now. It's not significant, but it is a steady revenue that is indexed. That fuel tax is not indexed. It would take another round through the General Assembly to raise the fuel tax, which would be not too popular. It never is. but it is something that I know that they have considered because of the transportation needs and all across the state, but especially here in East Tennessee. Some of the opportunities that we have for an increased revenue, this last legislative session, I'm as part of the Tennessee County Highway Officials Association, but also as your all's road superintendent, I've spent quite some time on the phone and a couple of trips to Nashville to try to lobby for the real estate transfer tax. The county used to receive a portion of the real estate transfer tax. There was a few years ago, the state decided that they needed that revenue to stay in Nashville, so to speak. So they started keeping the portion that the counties received. Well, we're asking for that money back because we need it. For Loudon County, if that had passed in the last budget, it would have been about $800,000 for transportation and infrastructure needs. Now, there's some rules and of how that money's spent. I can't just spend it on anything. I would have to go to the county commission and let them know what I'm doing and then vote, on that. But it's a great opportunity for revenue to come back into Loudon County that we so desperately need. So one exciting thing I wanted to touch on was the increased opportunities for improvements here in the Tellico Village community along with the Piney community. The Piney community is the rural community that butts up to the project here. Great community. Seen on the way in that they're having their fish fry tomorrow, I guess. You need to check that out if you haven't ever went and join that great organization if you're not a member. But being part of the transportation planning region outside in Knoxville, Tellico Village's population has grown enough that the state recognized this area, and they are now getting funding. I'm getting funding through them that will sit until there is a project identified that we could spend it on. Of course, it would have to go through the board to gain approval. It's slow money, but it's good money. Pretty much 444. The streets that's part of the POA, of course, you all know or should know, let you know that I have no jurisdiction on any of the streets inside the Tellico Village project. The 444 is a state route, but roads like Ritchie Road, Maple Hill, Davis Ferry, Poplar Ridge, Von Orr Road, as you all may take the country road to go into Loudon. Those are the streets that I have jurisdiction on. But this funding spills over into that area also. So it's a great opportunity for some improvements to be made. When this first started tonight, going over the different committees, boards that I'm going to be old-fashioned because you're going to have to get a new podium. I noticed HOA's going to have to do something with that. But I've had the pleasure since being elected to work with the Transportation and Safety Committee pretty much quarterly since taking office. Historically, the road superintendent's office has not had an established schedule. I don't know I don't recall in my time ever scheduled meetings to discuss transportation needs along this 444 corridor or out in the country beside Tellico Village. So I'm very thankful for those relationships that we've built. I see some of those folks here. I'm not there going to try to start naming names because I wouldn't get everybody called, but between that committee and our office and work with local legislators, there has been a project identified that's being developed. It's in such an early stage, I don't know how much to talk about it because it is in the very early stages, but there are safety improvements, some safety improvements coming to 444. I say near future, 2 or 3 years. It's good money, but it's slow money. It does take a little while to get there. I'll be sticking around for a few questions if y'all have any. Let my friend and Sheriff Jimmy Davis come up.
And just a reminder for anybody who's watching via Telco Village Network, feel free to ask questions via the chat. I'm watching it.
Thank you, Billy, for your introduction. I really appreciate that. And sorry, I'm going to try not to point at anybody tonight with my finger here. So also try to thank everyone for coming out tonight. With Billy going over some of his, I didn't really plan on saying much about myself with new villagers coming in, but I too has been a lifetime resident of Loudon County. I was also elected in 2022 as your sheriff and been in law enforcement for 31 years. Started at Loudon County, the sheriff's office in 1994. I was 6 years old, but I seemed like I've done pretty good so far. So, but we are running for election in next year in the primary. So we hope that being able to be out in the community can help create relationships that make you feel more comfortable, like if you come to my office or his office or the mayor's office or all the offices in the county, that we'll be able to have those relationships where we can sit down and have one-on-one conversations with concerns or complaints or even some praises every now and again. It's really nice to get those. So I'm going to go over some statistics with you all, and as it relates to Telco Village primarily. In Telco Village, over the last second quarter of 2025, we've had 299 calls for service. And those calls for service that we put on here do not relate to traffic stops, crashes, or security checks. This is, I think, mainly they are a lot of medical calls that we have to deal with. But out of those calls for service of 299 calls, 19 have been to report crimes. So the crime rate is somewhat low in Loudon County, although the crimes that we do have in here are sometimes severe, especially dealing with fraud and things of that nature, where we've had several residents and non-residents in Loudon County be extremely taken advantage of in dealing with tens or if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraud that those have lost. With those calls that we've had one burglary and one battery in the last quarter, with 2 arrests. Those are not necessarily Telco Village residents that have been arrested, but 2 arrests in the last quarter. So the numbers are looking good for the Telco Village area. And that's the main thing we want to upkeep is public safety and how you feel and why you moved to East Tennessee and Loudon County in particular. Education, the roads are good, taxes are good, and you feel safe when you're in your home, and great places to raise families and go to school. Just to kind of give you a comparison of how Telco Village compares with the rest of the county, I'll just give you the last couple of months numbers, where we've had 299 calls for service in Telco Village in the last quarter. The sheriff's office is made up of 126 individuals. We have 54 in our jail, assigned to the jail, and 73 do all the other sheriff's functions, whether it be patrol, investigations, administration, narcotics, SWAT teams, and everything like that we have that encompass on the sheriff's side of the house. So with that, we've had in June this year, we have had 2,039 calls for service, and in July, we've had 1,997 calls for service. So it gets kind of busy for our patrol, and that's why we do a lot of patrol and have other resources that we have, such as our COPS program. And it's being revamped. Those that you know, Ralph Kidd, which has been our liaison for several years, has retired. So we're getting ready to go to a different direction with our COPS program, which is valuable, especially with the security checks when you're going out of town or leaving town for extended periods of time, and being able to just keep a visibility patrol out in Telco Village. So if somebody sees that sheriff on the side of their car, they're not necessarily sure if it's a deputy or a reserve or a COPS member, but it is a deterrent to keep crime and people that may look into getting no good in Telco Village and get them out of the area for sure. So we hope with that, our Neighborhood Watch program, like Levon said, has been revamped the last couple of years. Sherry Lee has done a fantastic job with that and really helping us. We talk probably more than we should because she gives me a lot of great information, and I take her knowledge and her her experience over her lifetime as retired LAPD detective. I take a lot of that and kind of pick her brain on some things that she has, but she's very good for our Neighborhood Watch program and our communication. So our Neighborhood Watch program is fantastic. So I'll stay around. Most of my question, or most of my information will probably on the question and answer, because I'm sure there's lots of topics that we could go over. So I'll leave you with the statistics and then look forward to your questions. Thank you.
And that brings us to Henry. District 7 updates.
Thank you, Loudon. Okay, as I look around the room, I see a lot of old friends. I also see some new people. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm the Loudon County Commission Chairman. I also sit on the TRDA board, and I'm also the Vice Chairman of the Budget Committee with Buddy on the Budget Committee. I'm a 22-year resident of the village, soon to be a 23-year resident. So as they say in East Tennessee, I know where the bodies are buried. I'm married to Kathy. She's sitting in the back room. We had 3 sons. I'm a 34-year retiree at a Ford Motor Company. I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia, when I retired. When I got here, we redid our house over on Tanassi Place. But when it got finished, I said, what am I going to do? So I went by the firehouse one afternoon. And John Manners and Elton Pearson were standing there, and I stopped and I said, you ever looking for anybody? He said, yeah. He said, you got any experience? I said, yeah, I was sworn in by my dad in 1962 as a volunteer fireman. And I cut my teeth on that F-800 you have parked in the garage. So they said, okay, let's try this new kit on. So they take it out. So I took it out and drove it. It was a 5-speed Clark, double clutch and standard transmission. I pumped it, came back, and I was in the firehouse. 2004, I was elected chief. And along with 17 dedicated volunteers and a lot of help from the residents, we took it out of the ashes and turned it into the most respected organization in Tellico Village. And because of AMA, and that's not a medical term, that's automatic mutual aid, the fire department here has got the respect of the entire county. I'm still a member. I still hold my AEMT certificate. Firefighter 1, I'm recovering from a broken hip. And thanks to Bill Butera in the back, I'm just about ready to walk without any help. Now, took 2 years off from 2012 to 2014. I burned up some fossil fuel with my 4 grandkids. And then in 2014, Don Miller, who was the commissioner, wasn't going to run again. Well, as soon as he announced that, my phone melted down. You've got to run. I said, I'm not a politician. I tell it the way it is and walk away. Well, I ran and won. And I joined the commission when Buddy was elected mayor in 14. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give him a little hit here now. He wakes up every day with one purpose in mind, and that's to make Loudon County a better place to live. So I worked alongside of him. The first thing we faced was the tax sale lots in the village in 2014. I'm taking Buddy down memory lane. And that turned into a Donnybrook. We got it resolved. We built a jail. I affectionately call it the Davis Bed and Breakfast. On TRDA, Buddy's on the TRDA with me. I'm one of the 3 from Loudon County who serves on the TRDA board, Buddy, Jimmy Matlock, and myself. The first thing we did is we got the kayak launched down at the Clear Creek boat ramp. That took a lot of work. We got it done. Now, the biggest one, working with Brian Hall, was the oil changes at the boat ramp, Eric Marine. Well, it seems a few years ago, somebody changed the oil in their boat and they dumped it into the lake. Now, you want to talk about lighting the TWRA up. That did it. They put a stop to it. I got Buddy, I got Brian Hall. They said, people, we can't do that. We've got all these boats in the village, and I'd say 99% don't have trailers. Eric Marine services them. So the TWRA relented and they let us do it. Now, when they started back up, I stopped and I talked to Eric Marine. I said, hey, we worked hard to get you back. If you drop a drop of oil on that blacktop, you blot it up. But don't you dare put it anywhere but in a waste can and take it away. Recently, we did the 2 boat ramps, Poplar Springs and Clear Creek. When you came into the village, the one at Poplar Springs didn't look too good. So we got Brian. We were able to get some American Rescue Act money. We redid the one at Poplar Springs. We did the one at Clear Creek. They look a lot better. Now, what have I done for the village? When I wake up, there's only one thing I look at, looking out for my friends and neighbors in the village and Loudon County. So what have you done? Well, have you stood around taking up space and breathing air? No. I am pro public safety. I stand behind Jimmy and his men. Budget time, all the time. The men and women that fold themselves into those marked units and patrol the street needs all the backup they can get, and I hope we can compensate them well enough for the risks. The fire department here, when I took over in 2014, they were getting $15,000 from the county. This year they got $150,000. We've also taken care of them using the ARFA money. I got them a boat, some repeaters, took care of the library. They had a big debt for a flood they had that ruined the AC system. We paid that off. Our Place. I am a big supporter of Our Place. The service they provide for the village in Loudon County on that end of the county is tremendous. So I helped them out with their extension, helped them out on the yearly contribution under the nonprofits, gave them some additional money, and I hope someday when I'm there, they don't put the redhead out in the sun in the chair. I took care of Timeless Teleco, T-Bart, the spray and neuter group, and I've taken care of the funds in the village. Unfortunately, they're 501c3s. The village is a 501c4. We are not able to give taxpayer funds to a 501c4. That's a law. There's a TCA for that. Well, let's bring you to this past spring. Every year around April, we start the budget process. This year was a difficult one. We had to take care of the sheriff. We bought him 7 new rides, no Escalades. He knows that joke. We took care of salaries. We gave them equipment. We took care of the fire departments. And I'm pleased to do that. You cannot pay those men and women that fold themselves into that marked cruiser enough money. 374 names were added this spring to the wall in D.C. We also took care of the convenience center down in Lenore City. We put $100,000 into that. We're putting a new compactor, we're making it bigger. And for those who put your trash in the back of your pickup truck and take it so you don't have to put up with Republic, that'll benefit you. We took care of Billy. We bought him dump trucks, all sorts of stuff. So we covered the things that make our county great. Now I'm going to leave you with one thing. There was a big blow up on the schools last year. Now, the way the school system works is there are 10 school board members. They determine the course and direction for the school system, along with Mike Guerin, Matt Tinker, and Chad Presley. They voted for an expansion program, and I stayed with them. Philadelphia, much needed. The auto mechanics class program at the high school, go get your car fixed and you'll see how much that's needed. And last but not least, Greenback. They needed some improvements. I didn't have a problem with those. The new school, I wish I had more information. But all we can do is up or down their program. And last year, June 24, 2024, budget adoption, 6 commissioners voted to build a school system. I didn't have a problem with it. Now I hear, well, it's not needed, it's not bad, you got enough kids. Tell you what, go to Lenore City tomorrow. Go to the Truist Bank on the road alongside of Food City. Take a look at what's going in there. Take a look at the property that the school had out at 321. There's a development going in there. Highland Park. I'm not opposed to what they're doing. Yes, it was a tax increase. That was the first in 8 years. We didn't increase your taxes this year. And Mike took you through the certified tax rate. So I'm comfortable. My only concern is that 2028, 29, 30, are they going to be putting an extension on it due to the population? Mike told you, last census we were at 54,668 in the county. We're at 64,000 now, and I have no idea where it's going to be in 2030. Now, one last thing. I know there's a lot of concerns, but none of us on the commission want a tax increase. We'll do what we can to avoid that. Sometimes you just can't miss it. So I hope when we do the reassessments, Mike, we sit there one night and get 10 votes to adopt a certified tax rate. I'll be around after the meeting here. I'll take questions. You know where my phone is. I live on Tanassi Place. You're welcome to call me. I don't mind it. And yes, I'm going to take another run next spring. I'd hate to waste all this knowledge. I know where the money is. I know how it flows. So anyway, thank you.
He knows where the bodies are buried. Last but not least, Buddy Bradshaw.
Thank you, Levon. Thank you all for having us out and coming out, spending your Friday evening with us. Going last, I don't really know what I've got left to talk about. So thank y'all. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Buddy Bradshaw. I'm your current sitting Loudon County Mayor. I'm in my third term. Shameless plug, I will be seeking a fourth term. First ran in 2014 with Henry, and Henry and I have been the two constants, the only two, that have served on the Budget Committee since 2014. When we took office, I'm going back, I'll be real quick on my bio. I was born here, raised here, hopefully die here, hopefully some time from now, but that is my plan. I am fourth generation on the land where we live. My beautiful wife is with us. If you call LUB and with a problem, odds are you're going to speak with her. So be very nice, be nice. And so I love this county. I love where we live. My grandmother's property was the first property not taken by TVA at Mill Oqua. If you're familiar with Mill Oqua, the back cove, I was in that cove swimming before anybody here ever was, because we would walk and get in the water. So I'm familiar with the area, but I love our county. I love the fact we're a melting pot. I love our quality of life. I love our cost of living, for that matter. And when I ran in 14, we were in the news for a lot of the wrong reasons. It was always negative, seemed like. And we're better than that, as not just the homegrown folks, so to speak, but all of us together. I think we do it better here than anywhere else. 7 of the last 8 audits by the State Comptroller's Office were a little bit different. Cities, different organizations, they hire people to come in, but we have to pay the comptroller. But he sends folks in, and they go through our budget with a fine-tooth comb. 7 of the last 8 years, those audits have been clean. The one audit we did, the one finding, just one, from 4 years ago, was actually a solid waste finding. It was just a faux pas on a invoice. So it really wasn't a county finding, but we're the fiscal agent, so we get the findings pinned on us. No longer is a clean audit the exception for Loudon County. When I came in 14, first thing we were going to start doing was taking pride in our work. The drama, you leave it at home, because you're not going to last long here under my administration, bringing a bunch of drama and a bunch of personal business in. For the most part, people took that to heart. Not everybody. There's been some changes. I've got new department heads at several different places. Some from retirement, some just decided it was better elsewhere. But we were going to do things one way, and that was the right way. No longer is it an exception to have a clean audit in Loudon County. Before I took office, we had 1. We've had 7 of the last 8, and that, I wish I could say, yes, that's me, or that's Henry, or that's the sheriff, that's Mike, that's Billy. We've caused that. We've not. It's because our people, our employees, your employees, because you all pay the taxes, take pride in their work again. There's no more drama. They come in the morning, they want to work, they don't want to be that person that messes that up, and it's not from a punishment point of view, because they are very proud of it as well. Now, our first year in budget, we trimmed close to $1 million out of a budget that had grown and grown and grown. So we trimmed it out, and for a couple of years, we were very, very stingy. The other department heads, elected officials will tell you couldn't hardly get a box of staples or a box of paper clips. But what we did was reel it back in to where we can rely on our growth, and we have grown. Maybe too fast in some areas of the county, but we've been able to build and live on our growth of our penny value. And a penny right now, think about it, when you say penny value, a tax penny, one tax penny in Loudon County generates $265,000. Unbelievable for a county our size to generate that kind of revenue with a tax penny. Now, we budget very differently. We typically will budget at 98% of what we expect our revenue to be. We very typically collect over 100% of what we expect for our revenue. That creates a buffer, and as well as our other elected officials. They do a great job of, I used to be a county employee, and I had a gentleman that I worked for, and actually, I'll take that back. I won't go back that far. I'll go to one of my department heads one time. We get a truckload of water, a semi-truck load of water delivered to one of our departments. And I get word, and I said, why in the world do we have a semi-truck load of water being delivered? Well, I had money left in my budget. We're not going to do that. That's not your money. That's not my money. That's the taxpayer's money. If we don't have to spend it, don't spend it. And then that attitude is spread. That's all our elected officials, they're all in it as well. That's how we keep putting money back. We have grown from around $4.5 million in 2014 to we are lingering somewhere between And it's hard to pin numbers down. Our budget's very fluid, between $19 and $20 million in a fund balance. Amazing, record-setting, and amazing for a county our size. We've made significant investments in law enforcement. Sheriff Davis has done a great job of modernizing our sheriff's department. We've helped across the board. Mike has got a new program going, and I'm kind of excited about it. I think most people are. That's going to help make his job easier for the simple fact it's the flyover. It's called Eagle View. That's going to allow his people to better evaluate the properties that we have. Billy does an amazing job what he has. And I want to brag on Henry a little bit too. For a District 7, which is the village, for a ain't from here to be chairman of the commission, it says worlds about who the man he is and the job he does for our county commission for the people of Loudon County. And I hope nobody got that, I don't think. Because when you hear he ain't from here, that usually means, well, they're not from here local. But for Henry to have that honor bestowed upon him says a lot about him. We live in a great place. I mean, it's just, I love where we live. I think every day, I think we can get better. I think we're on a path to be better. Commission has done an outstanding job of trying to slow some of the growth down with growth, and I love growth. Controlled growth is what's key. What we're seeing now with the massive influx of us somewhere between 64 and 65,000 new residents, we're not seeing the village. Now, I'll brag on you all, I'm not better than you up because I tell folks this when I go to my different meetings around the state. How does Loudon County do it? I said, well, we have a very, very nice, not arrangement, but a blend, I guess. Mike told you the value of here that the village brings to us as a county. Y'all don't have any burden. Crime is not much at all. Very few, how many 100 children maybe? Maybe a busload of children goes to our public schools, and your roads all belong to you all. So 138, so children. So, that allows Loudon County to do some great things. What do y'all get for your tax money? Well, I try to do a shred day 2 or 3 times a year. But I think also that makes it our responsibility, and I get criticized for this outside the village, and that's fine, I'll take it. I appreciate everything the village brings to Loudon County. And what's our responsibility then as commission and my responsibility as mayor is to make sure we take care of that money. And that's something I think we've done very well over the last 12 years, coming up on 12 years. And, this, like I said, there's no place like Loudon County. What is Loudon County's reputation around the state of Tennessee? I was first Loudon County mayor to be able to sit on the Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations, TASER, the most powerful intergovernmental committee in Nashville. A lot of stuff that the legislators, especially if it's a hard subject, the legislators say, well, let's send it to TASER. I was able to serve on it for 4 years at the discretion of Lieutenant Governor McNally, fighting for the rural, small counties, and that's what I did. So I came off of it, rotated off of it, and I thought, wow, I'm through with Nashville for a little bit. And he calls and says, hey, we need somebody for the TLDA. Do you mind to serve? Well, how often does it meet? Oh, not often. Well, it does about once or maybe sometimes twice a month. But it's the Tennessee Local Development Authority, which gives out loans and a lot of time forgiveness for loans for struggling counties that need water, clean water loans and stuff like that. And it's certainly an honor to serve on it as well. But what's expected is to bring the excellence that is Loudon County to these committees. And as I said, it's been an honor for me to serve on them. It's been an honor for me to be able just to serve the folks of Loudon County. And I enjoy every day of my work. I think if you look around, we've changed a few things around. Henry talked about our expansion of the convenience center. I don't think there's a single home service that does recycling. Chris Parks, he came in with me in 2014. I lured him away from TRW. With JTech now, he was a lifelong friend, but he knew what he was doing. Our recycling numbers are through the roof. I mean, it's amazing the job he's done. If you want to recycle, we were the flagship model for household hazardous waste recycling. We were the first ones in the entire, it used to be one day, we were the first ones in the entire state to open it up through the week, where it's every week now. We do our paint recycling. We've changed a few things around with our maintenance crews. Our maintenance crews, a lot of those we have 3 certified HVAC, 1 certified electrician. We work 4 10s because if you pay Loudon County, we pay decent. If somebody tells you they're working for Loudon County and getting rich, they're telling you a lie, unless they're really good gamblers or bet, because we don't pay an incredible wage. How do we keep these folks in? How do we keep HVAC technicians? 410s, they have every third weekend's a long weekend. They can pick up side jobs on their day off, make extra money, and still be able to come in and do great things for Loudon County. I'll be happy to answer any questions that come along. And also, Henry, you forgot, he left out that with TRDA and our place, we did get it through, and Brian Hall supported us with this, and we paid our place's POA assessments for the year. And so that was something else TRDA did. And so glad to be a part of that. And I'm going to back up one more time, and I'll sit down, I promise. 2014, when I first ran for office, my very first time out here, a lady had asked, she goes, do you have a problem, or why would you be willing to put a Tellico Village resident on the TRDA? My first question that I thought was, what in the world is a TRDA? And so didn't know. But anyway, figured out what it was, figured out very, very crucial to our area. And the first opening we had, I did appoint Henry Cullen. Henry was kind enough to take it. The commission supported on it. So true to my word, the Tellico Village has representation, and a very good representation on the TRDA board. I'll be around, happy to answer any questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Buddy, and thank you to everybody for coming out tonight. I think it's been very informative. Surely that has generated some questions. You can come up to the mic. I've been watching it online, but I haven't seen anything come up yet, so. And
You all share mics, but make sure you turn them
You get it.
green when you're ready to talk.
yeah.
Hi, y'all.
State your name and who your question is for.
Okay. My name's Larry, and I live in Tennessee over by the silos with Paulette. Paulette, you want to say hello? Paulette is a long-term member or a veteran of the TV Fire Department. Any other TV FD veterans here? No? Oh. Round of applause for TV FD. Okay, so I have a hypothetical question, and it's directed to whoever wants to give me an answer, and there may be multiple answers. So the question is, if a TV resident had a concern about a service provided by a component of the Loudon County government, you know, the service provided or responsiveness or whatever, what should we do about it? Hypothetical question. Who would we go to?
Yeah, that would 100% depend on the service. If it's, if it's something with law enforcement, you go to the sheriff. Really, that's a very broad. Now, granted, I'll say this, no matter what it is, I usually get blamed for it, and they call my office. But with each independent elected official or has controlled their own office, like I said, depending on who it is, what it is, and the circumstance, then that's what it would depend on.
Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I will note that all the elected offices and county commission, all of our phone numbers are on the website, loudouncounty-tn.gov, if you have trouble finding our phone numbers elsewhere.
Thank you.
I'm Yvonne, and my question is for Mr. Campbell. You said you have some of your staff out in cars driving around to do assessments. Do they come into your home?
No, it's a visual inspection. So we've had a case or two that the homeowner is adamant to come in and look. I would prefer that not to happen. Mm-hmm. There's a couple things that could happen. I'd rather you document, if you're trying to document an issue with your home, your improvement, your structure, and bring that to us. We don't need to be in anyone's home. And my basic line is, we don't want to treat somebody differently than we treat the mass. So we look at everybody from the outside. Now we'll go around the house. We will measure we will document, but our policy is we really don't want to be in anyone's home. Liability,
Yeah.
just if you've got an issue, please document it, and take some pictures and bring it to us. We'll take a look at it if that's the concern.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So the mayor asked me to follow up on that. So our people will not ask to come into the home. So in today's crazy world, there's a lot of scams, there's a lot of different things. I mentioned that we labeled the car with the logo. It's on the doors, the hood. We have work shirts with the logos, but we won't ask to come into the home. We want to stay outside, treat the 37,000 properties the same. And so I've had several property owners that, please come in and take a look at this issue. And I would take the stance that you document it and bring it to us. And mayor staff should never, ever say, well, let's come in and take a look at it.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it one question and then you need to get back in line if you have another?
Well, I think we're okay. Go ahead and ask your
Okay.
questions, yes.
Both of these questions could perhaps be answered by Mr. Pickle. The first question is, I was not aware that Loudon County had a real estate transfer tax. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
How much is it?
I don't have that figure. ma'am.
Okay. Who would I call at Loudon County to find out what that figure is? Or does somebody else on the panel know?
Tammy Gallagher, she is the Register of Deeds.
Okay.
Her office is located at the courthouse annex, where you pay your property taxes, get your car tags, things of that nature. She's there in that building there. She
All
should be
right.
here tonight. She could have got a question asked.
My second question is a little more complicated in that we have heard as a community that one disqualifier for Tellico Village becoming incorporated into Loudon County is that our streets are too narrow. Can you tell me whether or not that in fact is the case?
Well, I'll make a comment. As far as you're using the word incorporation, that wouldn't be the same as what maybe you're really getting at. I would defer the question to Commissioner Cullen. He's worked on this issue longer than I have as far as the road standards inside Tellico Village. Loudon County has road standards. The roads inside the Tellico Village project, the roads that are taken care of by the POA, they don't meet those standards. So that would keep me from being able to accept those roads. And I may be taking something away from Commissioner Cullen, Chairman Cullen. That was kind of the design back in the 80s whenever they started on that, was that Tellico Village would be standalone and not be an impact for the county. But before I get myself in the weeds here,
I'll answer that for you. Back in 1983, when the Cooper boys signed the lease for the TRDA property, 5,000 plus acres, paragraph 2 stated, the road shall remain private and the responsibility of the developer. If you were to incorporate, they would be the city roads as they are now. Now, to go to the county standards, Tanasi, Chota, the main roads have to be 24 feet wide. Billy, correct me if I'm wrong. They have to have curbing and storm drains on either side. A foot of base, 8 inches of gravel, 2 inches of binder, and 2 inches of blacktop. There are 110 miles in the main village of roads. The cost for that would be prohibitive.
It is such a tremendous number.
Is it your opinion then, Mr. Collins, that, because there has been talk and discussion once again about incorporating Tellico Village, and at the last time I heard you gentlemen, or many of you gentlemen, speak, I got the impression that you thought that incorporating was not off the books, not possible. And do you feel any different now?
I don't feel a bit different. It takes a third of the registered voters to sign a petition to incorporate. We do not butt up against Lenore City, as a lot have said.
Right.
We went in 2000 to the growth boundaries. Tellico Village has its own growth boundary. That would then fall under the commission to make the decision. Can you incorporate? Yes. Is it a heavy lift? Yes. Is it beneficial to the village? If I was running it and I had the sole decision, we'd be on our way to being incorporated. You'd pick up tax dollars, you'd have no lock-in on the assessment, you'd have a tax rate, you'll still pay the tax rate for the county and for the city. The sheriff's department will still patrol the roads. So there are benefits to it, but if you were at the town hall that Chet did, it got poo-pooed. That's the bottom line.
I thank you very much for your answer, and I'd like to say that you always show up for these meetings. And even though there are those of us that live in a different district, our representatives do not come to these meetings, and but it's very appreciated that you represent all of Tellico Village.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Penny Mansko, and this is for consideration to Billy. At the Yacht Club, I guess Piney Road intersection, would you ever consider putting in, until the permanent stoplight is put in, would you ever consider putting in a temporary stoplight until the situation can be resolved at that intersection? Because it is quite dangerous.
I don't know that there's necessarily well, I know maybe what you're talking about on a temporary red light. There are some products out now that make it a little easier to come by. With 444, that being a state route, it would all have to go through TDOT's approval before it could even be done.
Okay.
And that would be anywhere along the corridor. You know, the stop signs, we've got them up on our side to stop folks coming out of Davis Ferry or Maple Hill, rather. You know, that's the only traffic control device I have any jurisdiction on is that side. But it would be a conversation maybe to have with take it before the Transportation and Safety Committee. They're working very hard, and I'll keep it in mind for consideration.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw it was one of the projects hopefully upcoming, and I actually did take a picture of one here in Tennessee that it worked very well for construction. So thanks for considering.
Absolutely.
This question is for Jimmy Davis. We hear a lot these days about the illegal immigrant problem. What's our situation in Loudon? Do we have a problem?
I think we obviously have a lot of, illegal immigrants that are in our town. Right now, we work full support with our ICE partners in law enforcement. There's a program, 287G, that we are currently trying to join, and what that does is that trains some of our staff to be able to determine residency or not, and then what to do with it gives them ICE credentials where they can actually place a federal hold on that person to deport them out of our area.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jan Doherty. Thank you all for being here today. I've been in the village for 7 years. I have a couple questions. One is for Mr. Cullen, just yes or no. Did you vote to approve the new school?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
No, I know, no, I understand.
And I thought Mike should have justified it more. If he was at Ford, he'd get run out the door trying to ask for $115 million without a big explanation.
I know, because I was at the board meeting, and your answer today was a little confusing, and I just wanted to clarify that I remembered correctly.
Yes.
And just as a retired teacher, I'm so thrilled that the other board members passed it. But anyway, Mr. Pickle, I just wanted to ask if anything has come up to you about the 8 acres kind of at the corner of Maple Hill and 444 that also butts up to the Tenasseee Hills neighborhood, and the storage center that's maybe wanting to be built there?
The planning office may have some information on it. They have not made me aware of any connections.
Okay, because
so-
I know they were talking about doing a traffic study maybe on Maple Hill, because they can't come in off 444, and
That's
hopefully
correct.
the POA won't let them come off Nowata, which is coming into our neighborhood.
TDOT, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, they do control connections to the corridor pretty tight. You know, they don't want more than what they absolutely have to. So if there's a public road close by, they'll tend to make that property owner connect to that point. But as far as the traffic study, I'm unaware of whether there's one been filed. I usually get those after it's done and
Okay.
don't know anything about it until it's done.
Okay,
But you could contact James Jenkins. He's the Planning and Codes Enforcement Director. He's there at the courthouse annex. Also, you could find his number online at the county's website.
okay, great. And then this next question is kind of to Jimmy Davis, Henry Cullen, and Mayor Bradshaw. The lady before me kind of asked the question, but I want a little more clarification about ICE intervention here. So I know that 287G thing that the state passed allows our Loudon County Sheriff officers to be trained to be ICE agents too. Is that
Yes.
Correct.
It's mainly our corrections officers that when an arrestee comes into our facility, we can generate whether or not they're a legal resident or not, and then be able to put a federal hold on them to either be deported or transported out.
Okay, so just to be clear, your deputies who are trained or certified will actively participate in those operations?
We haven't had any requests from ICE to do any type of raids or anything in our area.
Okay,
Probably don't see it, maybe, just depending on, I guess other places have bigger problems than we do. But right now, we haven't had any requests to do that.
wasn't there an instance back in May of 2025 where a Lenore City police officer arrested a woman because she was supposed to be going for a custody hearing, and she was taken to Louisiana, then Illinois, Alabama, and she was pregnant, and she kept asking for medical help, and she was denied, and then for 3 days she had been carrying a dead baby in her womb because they would not give her any medical care. I have the article from the newspaper if you're not
Okay.
familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, not from our
Okay.
facility or not.
I can forward that to you.
Okay.
But
Yes, ma'am.
it just is very concerning to a segment in Tellico Village about, these people getting just ripped out of workplaces. In Tellico Village, we have a lot of Hispanic landscapers, construction workers, housekeepers, and, a lot of us want to make sure that if they're being taken, that they're getting their due process, which everybody is allowed due process by the Constitution in the United States, whether they're a citizen or not. And, we just want to make sure that all citizens are treated fairly and equal.
Yeah. As far as we're considered, if you're brought into our facility, we have 24-hour medical care now.
Great.
So we just passed that this year, so they're very well taken care of.
Right. And when I was at the Loudon County School Board meeting, they assured me that they've kind of been working with the Loudon County Department, that if any of these agents go onto school property to go after parents or students, that they have to have a federal warrant.
Usually they would have a federal warrant
Yeah.
anyway to be there in the first place. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very
Yes, ma'am.
much.
Thank you.
Before you
Thank
sit down, let me help you out with the Maple Hill Storage Facility. In 1983, when the Cooper boys signed the lease with TRDA, they were granted planning and zoning authority for the village. That does not come to the county. We have no ands, ifs, or buts as far as say on it, and it belongs to the ACC in the village.
Okay, I know we've looked at all the paperwork and there's a lot, it's not clear cut, it's very confusing. I know it's zone commercial, not zone commercial, it's crazy, but we're just gonna keep an eye on it, because it will butt up to property owners in Tenasseee Hills. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I just have a question. I'm one of those folks that makes full use of the convenience centers to recycle. Any plans to recycle glass?
I wish. The recycling, and one thing, I never was much of a recycler till I became mayor, and realized what we pay to go in, so we buy plastic as much as possible, because at least you can recycle it. Glass, there was an industry, I think maybe in Jefferson County, somewhere a little bit more northern Tennessee, got the idea that they're going to start recycling glass. And they thought at this time, before my time a little bit, they thought this is going to change it. It did change it. You can pave roads with it. You can make landscape marbles. But within 2 years, every home, park, school, and business had a flower bed full of landscape marbles. They didn't pave enough road to take, where you ground it into sand to make glass. You couldn't pave enough roads for it. You could have paved the entire state of Tennessee, but how much paving gets done on an annual basis? And the millions of dollars it costs to get into the machinery itself never really paid off. I wish there was something. I said, you can get almost anything now in plastic. I guess our one was pickles. You couldn't get pickles in plastic, but buy the plastic bottles when you can. We have a great, our recycling director, he bids that out all the time. He'll take pricing on it. So although we don't, and one way of looking at it is, although we don't make our money back, we're keeping it out of the landfill, which is tipping fees as well as environmentally correct, and you get some of that back on it. So the glass, I wish there was an easy button, but for the investment it would take, and then again, eventually it's kind of like recycling or mulch. Eventually you're going to run out of places to put it, and so ultimately it will end up.
I want to take it into Knoxville, because they still do recycled glass.
And they are looking for somewhere to put it most of the
Sure
time.
they are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stacy McMillan, and I have a question for Mr. Campbell. On the appraisals, are they based on total square footage of a home? So if you're putting a drone over a house and you see just a typical elevation, or a plan view, are you accounting that many people have 2-story homes or 3-story homes? Is that being accounted for in the appraisals versus the people who own ranch homes?
So yes, the program is flown by small airplanes, And this program that we're bringing in is what they have obliques. And so it's a lot of technical stuff, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to hear all this, but ortho is a straight down version, and an oblique captures multiple angles. So we will take into effect whether it's a open porch, deck, screen porch, enclosed porch, 2-car garage, 3-car garage, all those components will be reported on the property record card. And that information is available to every property owner. And you can actually see it online, the breakdown. There's a host of components that we build in the appraisal. So it won't just be from it's not a drone flyover and top down. We'll actually see angles of the home. You can actually see the detail. We can have the tools to measure the heights. It's a pretty elaborate system that will help us.
And are those are those spaces considered finished spaces, and do you appraise on unfinished versus finished spaces, or is everything appraised the same?
No, so everything has a different rate. So garages are different than the base level. We have 4 components in a basement. So there's finished basement, unfinished basement, lower living area basement. You have components for decks, patios, porches. You literally, I don't think you want to know the whole list.
No,
it's extensive.
No, my concern is that all of the walkouts that are here, are they considered finished? Are they considered livable finish? Because I'm just concerned that they're not getting taxed possibly at the same rate that they should be if they are livable spaces. That's my concern.
So yes, we have properties that and just like the last, we don't go in. So we're using the best knowledge that we have on the property. If somebody actually went in and finished unfinished basement without doing the proper permitting and acknowledgement, we will miss that as taxable or a higher value to tax. There is options for missed taxation.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm Ken Lidke. I'm chair of the Highway Advisory Committee, and I want to just give a little plug for our committee. There's been a lot of questions today about 444 and traffic on that highway. Please come and attend our meetings and bring your questions to that. We can provide a lot of answers, as well as go on the POA website under our committee, and there's a lot of information there as well as current projects, what we're working on. And at the same time, I want to thank Billy Pickle, and who's working with us quite heavily, especially and us receiving now that grant from the government, Transportation Act, which is going to enable us working with TDOT to go ahead and eventually get the roundabout at the Food Lion intersection there, Milagro and Chio. And it's going to happen probably in 2028, which is the way the government works. That's actually pretty fast. So, and so I just want to say, so please come to our meetings. There's a lot of information there, and we'll listen to your questions, and we'll see if we can act upon it. And I appreciate all the support we get from our elected officials in helping us working with Tellico Village and our committee. I want to thank you for that.
Thanks. And earlier, just 1 second, earlier somebody had asked the question, and there was a reply on the chat. Somebody had asked about the transfer tax rate for real estate. It is a flat statewide rate of 37 cents for every $100 of the property's value or sale price, whichever is greater. So, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Rich Krawczyk, and I have 2 questions. One is for Mike Campbell. And Mike, I talked to you about this a little earlier today, but for the sake of everybody here, can you estimate, can you estimate how much our real estate tax bill will go up this year?
Easy answer is not at this time.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And my second question is for Jimmy Davis. Do 911 calls from Loudon County go to your facility?
No, we have an independent, it's actually a municipality, the E91 Center. and it's funded by part of county funds funded. So it's a all-in-one service. So any kind of medical, fire, or law enforcement that you need, go into the 911 center, and they dispatch the according agency.
Where is that located, do you know, that dispatch center?
At the dispatch center, it's on Marymount Parkway in Loudon.
In Loudon, okay.
It's totally separate from the Justice Center.
All right, and then you get called.
And they'll dispatch us over a radio and do it that way.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to get ready to wrap up, but I'm going to take the opportunity to ask, and to answer your question in regards to the 911 center, the TVRA did a tour, and hopefully we'll do several more coming up next year, of the dispatch center that Jimmy is referring to, where the calls all come into that center, and then the ones that are appropriate then get dispatched either to Tellico Village Fire Department or to Mr. Davis's team. So if you get with me, I will tell you exactly. We did it last year, earlier this year, because I know we ran 4 events that were actually to the dispatch center, which was really cool. So you'll have to look for those in the future. And also, I'd like to thank once again, as Ken Lickey mentioned, the Highway Safety Committee. The Highway Safety Committee started out as an entity under the HOA before we moved to the Tellico Village Residents Association. They transitioned over to be an extension under the POA and the Advisory Committee. And as Ken mentioned, worked very closely with our Loudon County officials, including Mr. Pickle. But I do have one question for Mr. Davis, because I hear this every morning, and for those of you who live near 444, you probably get woke up pretty early in the morning, because 444 is a highway, and it does take freeway, and does take quite a bit of traffic. I live down towards the Clear Creek area, where every morning about 6, somewhere between 6 and 5:30, 6 and 6:30 in the morning, there's quite a bit of traffic going through there. But especially in the area where it is a no passing zone before you hit the Clear Creek entrance to the other side of the Clear Creek Bridge, it becomes a speedway between around 5:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the morning. And quite interesting, I've often assumed that traffic was going towards the industrial park. And Monday morning, 2 motorcycles who passed everybody who are evidently on their way to the gym were actually going inbound to Lenore City. What is the chances that there are going to be any more opportunity for your team to patrol and slow down and/or address some of the passing that is going on in non-passing zones, as well as the speed on 444?
It's obviously an issue that we've had for years, all the way down 444. Like Billy said, it's a state road. We try to encourage our Tennessee Highway Patrol to be out here more, but it being more of our residents, we try to get them out here as much as they can. With our call volume that we have, we continue to try to be all over the county as much as we can as possible. Unfortunately, our call volume pulls us away from the village sometimes, but I can put in special requests and get some people out here those times of the day, for sure.
Any other questions?
Anything else from anybody? Well, if you think of something, there is an email address. Please jot that down. And you get home and all of a sudden wake up and you remember you had a question, just send it to me and we'll get the answers. But thank you, everybody, for coming out. And thank you again for our speakers.